So the internet itself began in 1960s when it was called ARPANET. It was used primarily for electronic mail. The whole purpose behind it was to ensure that communications could be transmitted between various stations in the event of a nuclear war. If one section of the country was taken out, what would end up happening is that the messages would find a different route to get to its destination. And that basically guaranteed delivery. That's one of the concepts behind the internet, that the packets will actually get to their intended destination, regardless of the route it takes. What surprised people the most is how the internet was used for business. But it really shouldn't be, because if you have a way to disseminate information as easily as the internet does, once a browser comes along in 1994, such as Netscape, that changes the game, because now people are able to collect information much quicker and view that information. Furthermore, the information is presented in a very nice fashion. So before, in like 94, you had boldface and italics, and everybody was all keen on that. And then we could throw images on. And now we get even further into a little bit richer type of experience where you're sending large amounts of graphics, entirely related to the fact that we have higher distribution lines. So it shouldn't be that much of a surprise. And now the browsers were so lightweight that you can run them on any application, on any computer. The PCs, the Macs, or anything else that you might have had. The internet has three attributes that make it important. It's ubiquity, reliability, and scalability. And basically what we're saying is that we can use it for everything, and it's reliable. And if we need more piping or we need more bandwidth, we can just get it. All the protocols, all these applications and everything, they just know how to use it. Nobody even thinks twice. It used to be where you had different types of networks. The internal networks were like Token Ring, and there was a few others that I don't actually recall. Those just went away because the internet, which is based on a TCP/IP protocol, which actually resides, let's say, when you're on your internal in your internal office using something called Ethernet, it's able to do that quite easily. So there really isn't a huge skill set that's required to kind of set this up. Every operating system had it built in. Windows had it built in. Unix had it built in. So there wasn't much more that it needed to do. It was actually fairly easy to get running, get installed, and just now we had to figure out what was the best usage for it. The difference between intranets and extranets really isn't that great. We're still using internet technologies, but when we secure our internal communications and create a private internal network using the same basic protocols, TCP/IP, that's called an intranet. It just means that inside the organization we can all hit these web pages and no one outside the organization can hit them. Later on we realized we could extend that private network to our partner or supplier, and that became an extranet. It was an external party who could connect into our intranet, and thus we changed the name to an extranet. But it had a lot of value to it, because now what would happen is all these transactions between suppliers and distributors and so forth could be done on these private networks without going into the cloud, and thus we could ensure the guaranteed transmission, seamless integration, and everybody was looking at the same information. Digital convergence is a key concept here. What's happening now is that voice, data, and video are all using the same bandwidth. And all of the applications are really requiring voice, data, and video. It's now uncommon to not have things like video on certain applications. You want to connect over to YouTube. Look at what we're doing on Blackboard. I'm incorporating the video mashups so that you can get a richer experience. There's a theory called media richness theory, which says that you can get more information when the media is at a richer state, which we're not going to put anything more than that, but you could take a look. It's called media richness theory. When all forms of media can be digitized, put into packets, they can be managed, manipulated, you can do anything you want and create a fully rich experience for the end user. We now have telephony put onto IP, so I can pick up the phone and it's connected to the IP, or I can answer the phone directly on my computer. And thus, this is where we were talking about the collision between the industries. The 1 trillion computer industry led by the US, 225 billion consumer electronic industry that has Asian roots, and $2.2 trillion communication industry globally. You have all these people vying in for this space, and what you find is that this digital convergence leads to not only do we have the bandwidth, but we want the content as well. So it's not uncommon to see companies like Verizon literally entering into, say, the content space of delivering content for that last mile. You will also see the reverse, where you'll have partnerships like large media conglomerates trying to connect to those people who have the bandwidth, who control the bandwidth, to do the exact same thing. The content players media players, entertainment players, they know that the delivery of the content is critical. And this goes beyond just movies. We're talking gaming. We're talking any type of music that you want. And I want to distribute that anywhere. I would like to get it to you both in your car, on your mobile phone, or on your computer, or through your TV. If I can get it through your refrigerator and it makes sense, we want to do that too. So the line has blurred somewhat between these content deliverers and these content creators. And you can see by this list of companies some of the things that I've been talking about. So who do you think the winner in this battle of bandwidths is going to be? Are the content players more important, or are the content creators more important? And what I mean by content players are the people who provide that data, who provide the content, or the content creators themselves more important. And that's the question for today. So we'll see you there. We'll see you for the next module.